All right, everybody, just want to jump on real quick and discuss something that is happening that's pretty unprecedented, and that's going to be the dumping of players that the Los Angeles Angels did on Tuesday. So they dropped about 6 players from their roster, sent them all to waivers, which, of course, that means any team now is able to claim them off of waivers. Granted, the way the waiver process works is goes worst team gets first priority, then the best team gets the last priority. So obviously some of these teams that are down there, like the A's, the Royals, the Tigers, Nationals, those guys, they're really probably not going to want these players because there's really nothing to do like value-wise for them. Like, they're not going to postseason. They're not eligible to be traded because we passed the trade deadline. So, some of these bad teams aren't going to be really interested in them. Obviously, the contending teams are going to have some interest for them. And, of course, there are a lot of good contending teams that are in need of these players that are out there from the Angels. We're primarily going to focus on the Angels just because some of those guys got picked up today. They are claimed by another team out there. We'll get to that here in a second. But I kind of got a problem with that team as well. So Matt Moore, Lucas Giolito, Reynaldo López, Hunter Renfroe, and Randal Grichuk from the Angels were all put on waivers. All of them have been claimed off of waivers except for Grichuk. Some other guys who were also put on waivers is Harrison Bader. He got picked up by the Cincinnati Reds. Renfroe also got picked up by the Reds as well. So the Reds bolstering their outfield depth. But we're going to focus on Matt Moore, Lucas Giolito, and Reynaldo López because they got claimed by the Cleveland Guardians. Right, just let that sink in. The Cleveland Guardians are the team that picked them up. They're a team that, if we're kind of looking back at what they've done this year, it's a little bit of a conundrum, all right? They were, I'll call them sellers at the deadline as they traded away Josh Bell and Aaron Savali. They got back Noah Syndergaard, and who, by the way, Syndergaard's recently been let go by them as well too, so he's not even on the roster. So the guy they got back, that didn't work out. They traded away Aaron Savali, who's having a good year. They traded away Josh Bell, who was not having a good year, but Cleveland doesn't really have a lot of offensive weapons. You have Jose Ramirez, and that's the biggest one, and then you've got Andres Jimenez as well, and that's kind of about it. Josh Naylor's having a good year. Bo Naylor, his brother, has been called up and struggling, but that's not unexpected for catchers, from an offensive standpoint out there. But again, Josh Bell was expected to kind of be a big bat in the middle of the lineup. Didn't really pan out, but at the same time, it's not like Cleveland has somebody beating down the door to take his spot in the lineup, whether that's DH or first base. So, interesting move to say the least, but now the Cleveland Guardians went ahead and just grabbed these three pitchers that were on the LA Angels. Matt Moore, bullpen guy, been really, really good as a setup man for them, primarily kind of working as the guy right before the Angels closer, and Carlos Estevez. He's having a fantastic season. Looks like he's going to be a solid high leverage arm out of the pen for the Guardians. Reynaldo López also having a good season as a high leverage guy. So again, López was also picked up via trade at the trade deadline too. So now he's gone from Chicago White Sox, traded to LA to be a part of the Angels, and now he's going to go to Cleveland, Ohio. Is going with his buddy, teammate, Lucas Giolito. They were both part of the trade that sent them from Chicago to LA, and now they're both on their way to Cleveland. So Midwest, West Coast, back to the Midwest again. All having, good years. Giolito maybe not as great compared to some of the stands we've seen from him in the past, but he's still a good starter and still a guy that's going to go out there, strike out a lot of batters, be somebody that opposing teams have to worry about and contend with because he's got really good stuff. I think some tweaks maybe to his pitching kind of idea and how he wants to do it, like in terms of calling games, maybe that can help get him back there. Maybe a little bit of tweaks in mechanics and help bring some of his stuff back too. I'm not a pitching guru, pitching expert, so I'm just kind of guessing here, but he's having a good year nonetheless. And again, the Cleveland Guardians are the team that got him. I mean, this team right here, Seattle, they would love to have any of these guys. I personally really wanted Matt Moore because I thought he'd be a great addition to the bullpen. Lucas Giolito, I wouldn't have minded either because even though the Mariners have one of the best rotations currently, some of the guys at the back end are young and they're kind of getting up to an innings limit. So having a guy like Giolito might be a good way to help save their innings and not have a drop off. But that clearly didn't happen because the Cleveland Guardians swooped in, grabbed them from the waivers. And we're going to talk about the Cleveland Guardians real quick. They are 6 games under 500. They're not even in first place in their own division. They're second. Okay, they are 5 games back of the Minnesota Twins. They are 11.5 games back of the wild card standings, of the very final spot in the wild card standings. And these guys out here go and claim 3 really good pitchers for a postseason run. I mean, I'm really not too sure on this because, again, at the deadline, they sold off some of the big pieces to get Noah Syndergaard, who's really a name at this point. His stuff has not matched up to anything we've seen when he was back in New York prior to injuries as well. So they sold at the deadline, now are buying at the waivers because they're going for the playoffs? I'm not really sure what's going on. Like, Cleveland, what are you doing? What's the plan here? I mean, are you trying to get these guys because you feel like you could maybe win the AL Central and take it from the Twins, who haven't necessarily been like looking like world beaters? I can kind of see that. It's 5 games back though, like little, like right there on the line of like, can they do it? Can they not? Is there enough time? Kind of a deal. But if you're going for it, why did you get rid of Savali and Josh Bell previously? Like, that to me says like, hey, we're packing it in, so, you know, away we go. This move sounds like going for like a win now, but again, you've got a really steep uphill battle in order to make that happen. So are you just doing it to kind of play keep away so teams like Seattle or Minnesota or Tampa Bay or Baltimore or any team from the NL really doesn't get these guys? I mean, NL, I don't think there's big concern because you wouldn't face them in the playoffs anyways until you got to the World Series, which that's an incredibly long shot. But from the AL side, are you just doing it to play, like I said, play keep away? Some of these guys' contracts are up after this year as well, so it's not even like, okay, we've got them for another couple years and we can trade them in the offseason. No, they're done after this year. They're going to be free agents. So again, why are you picking them up? Not to mention, like, the way the waivers work is the Cleveland Guardians get all of the remaining salary from these players' contracts. So Matt Moore has a $7.5 million deal. Lucas Giolito has $10.4 million, and Reynaldo has $3.6 million. So the Cleveland Guardians just picked up about $21.5 million in salary. Granted, those are for what they got for this year. I don't know what the proration of that is going to be for how many games they have left from now until the end of the year. But again, why are we making this move here if we're not really going to be able to do anything with them? Like, you have a 5.5% chance of making the playoffs. 5.5%. Like I said, they're 5 games back at the AL Central. That's their best chance to make the playoffs, is winning the division, because 11.5 games back in the wild card stands, I don't see how that's happening. I mean, you got to beat teams like Toronto, Baltimore, or not Baltimore, excuse me, Boston. Where are you going to get? Where do you think these teams are just going to lay down for you? I mean, it's an uphill battle. The wild card standing, your best shot is the AL Central, and granted, the AL Central has been a weak division. But 5 games back, the Twins are still a better team. They actually have some reinforcements coming with Byron Buxton going out and actually now playing center field to go along with his hitting abilities. Granted, he's kind of been streaky, but he's going to come back here soon, and he's going to play center field for him, provide some stellar defense out there, and also provide some offensive firepower too. So Cleveland, what are we doing here? Why are we making these moves? Like, why are we selling at the deadline only to turn around and be buyers at the waiver line? Granted, all these players are going to be postseason eligible for Cleveland if Cleveland makes it in. But I don't understand what's Cleveland doing, and I'm really frustrated with Cleveland. I'm really annoyed with them. Like, I would much rather have seen Matt Moore, Giolito, Reynaldo go to other teams that are more than likely going to be in the playoffs, that have a much better chance of being in the playoffs. Like I said, Seattle will be a team, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, the The Rangers, sure, they could use it. I don't really want to see them get it because, obviously they're in the division, but they're a team that could use some help because they're in free fall mode. And then there's that team in Houston that I'm not a fan of that, sure, they could use the help too, but at the same time, like, I'd much rather watch them lose and go down in flames. But then you look over on the NL side, like the Cubs could use some bullpen help. The Brewers could as well. You've got Cincinnati, who obviously they grabbed a couple of the Angels already. They could use some help. You've got the Dodgers. I'm sure they would have loved to got Lucas Giolito to help their rotation. You've got San Francisco. You've got the Braves. I don't know if the Braves really needed any of these guys because their team is really good anyways, but still, you can never have too much talent. So, yeah, I would like to see these guys go anywhere but Cleveland. I mean, this edition just makes no sense to me. I have no idea what Cleveland's doing. I'm sure there's some fans in Cleveland that are probably asking the same question, like, what are we doing? But they also might be really looking, saying, like, this is it. We're getting some reinforcements. We're making a strong push. We're going to go in. We're going to win the AL Central. I'm not buying it. I'm annoyed with Cleveland. Cleveland, you should just, let things pass by. Don't put in the claims for these guys. Just let them go on. You had your shot. You messed it up and you're not having a good year. Just move on. Let's look forward to next season. Call up some prospects, see what they've got, check out some guys that are, maybe on the cusp of making the majors or, maybe being guys that could be part of your core moving forward. But this is kind of a head scratching move. I don't buy it. I'm really just annoyed. But anyways, like I said, this is going to be a quick hot take for us here. Check us out. We are the Replacement Level Podcast. Check us out on X. Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can get this wonderful show. Tell your friends about us. Share this with them. I understand that Cleveland Guardian fans might be a little salty when people kind of talk some trash about their teams. So, Cleveland Guardian fans out there, talk with me, hear me, tell me, explain to me what I'm missing here because I don't get it. I think this is a bad move. I really would have loved to see you guys just sit this one out and let these guys go. But share this with your friends. Tell us everybody about it. We will look forward to what's coming next. We'll see how this pans out. Maybe this looks really dumb in a couple of weeks when the Guardians do make that run and I sound like an idiot. But until then, guys, have a great day and let's enjoy some baseball.